What do the singers of New Edition, Michael Jackson after Jackson 5, Justin Timberlake after NSYNC, and the Jeffersons TV series from the 70s all have in common? And how is what they have one of the most important things that you can get in an era where it seems like all jobs are coming to an end? That's what we're going to dive into in this episode so that you can get what you need, not just to ride the waves, but to ride them like a pro. Hey, Creating Maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your Reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create. A couple of months ago, I'm sitting in a friend's kitchen with her son, who's in his 20s, and he asked me, what's some big life advice you'd give to someone my age? And I'm like, wow. I was like so happy because he was asking me this completely unprompted. And you know, me, coach for life, and I just live for and love this stuff. And so I'm about to launch into it. Like, you know, I'm gearing up to use New Edition as my analogy about being both a solo artist and part of an ensemble. You know, how life is about being able to use your gifts and also do it in collaboration with others. So I say it's like being a member of New Edition, and I pause for dramatic effect. But I only get like this blank stare back from him. And he looks me dead in my eye and he asks me, who's New Edition? You should have seen the look on my face. Then I look at him and I see that he's like trying like really hard. Like he like looks back at me and he realizes, oh, I said something wrong. So he's like, is it a band? And I just wanted to cry. You know, like then I'm like, what? Like, you don't know New Edition? Like, do you know BBD, Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, Johnny Gill? And I'm just like rattling off, you know, going into detail and asking about all these songs and practically getting hysterical at this point. And he's like trying really hard and he's just staring back and he's just like shaking his head and he's like, I have no idea. And I'm like, how did this happen? How did this happen, y'all? How did I become old? How? Anyway, him not knowing who New Edition is was a sidebar to the point that I was trying to make, which is this. What makes New Edition special is more than just the fact that they are fire as an ensemble, right? What's even more powerful about them is that they are just as great as solo artists. They're like Voltron, you know, they come together and they disassemble. Each and every single member is a standout talent on their own. I saw this on full display when my friends and I went to a New Edition concert, and my goodness, it was amazing. And it was so fun. They started out singing their early, you know, year hits like Candy Girl and Mr. Telephone Man. Then they broke out into their songs from BBD like Poison and Ralph Tresvant Sensitivity. And Johnny Gill came out, you know, did his own famous solo numbers. And then, of course, we had Bobby Brown, you know, doing Don't Be Cruel, My Prerogative and all that. And BBD was acting as his foreground dancer since, you know, Bobby's, you know, a little portly these days and, you know, it's got health issues. And so he's not jamming out in the same way, but he was there and committed. And it was like going to 5 concerts in one. It was like amazing. And the beauty of New Edition is that even when the group was on hiatus, it didn't mean the end of the individual members' careers. They had the power of the spin-off. Yes. Just like Michael Jackson from Jackson 5, just like Justin Timberlake from NSYNC, just like the Jeffersons from the show All in the Family, and countless other solo acts from groups and spin-off shows, from standout characters in the original show. Just, they all have this thing. But how were they able to do this? It's simple, y'all. Their ability to spin off came from having their own powerful individual and personal brands that were separate from the group. You might be wondering what my definition of a personal brand is at this point, and it's pretty simple. A personal brand is not what you say about yourself. It's the tangible thing or experience you create and how that thing you create becomes the thing people come to expect from you. Your personal brand is what you create consistently, not what you create sporadically, not what you wish you could create. No, it's what you create consistently. That's your personal brand. Like that's the center core of your personal brand. There are other pieces to it, but it's the central core of it. And if you think about all these folks who I've just mentioned as having spin-off power, they all had a unique experience that they created for the audience that stood out apart from what was happening with the group. The larger group, of course, was creating a particular experience, yes, but each individual also had their own unique flavor. Their part of the overall experience added unique value and made them stand out. And the unique thing they created was their own personal brand. And this is what gave them that power to spin off. And this ability to spin off let them soar beyond the group. Get this. Pay close attention to this. The end of the group did not mean the end of them as individual artists. Did you hear that? The end of the group did not mean the end of them as individuals. Now, I want you to really think about this because it applies to you too, even though you may not be a member of a record-breaking band. As an employee, you're the member of a band of sorts, as a member of an organization. But the question is, if your job comes to an end, if your job came to an end today, or if your organization had mass layoffs and unceremoniously kicked you and your colleagues to the curb, or if the company just went bankrupt, if you got kicked out of the band today, do you have what it takes to spin off and still soar on your own, especially if your search for a new organization takes longer than you plan, which it always does? Or will you be drowning and flapping around? Do you have this thing that will help you spin off? Do you have a powerful personal brand right now while in an organization, while on your job? A thing that's yours and separate from your job. Do you know what that thing is for you? Or is who you are and what you create buried so deep in the organization and so merged with your job title that if your job came to an end, you would feel like your work was done. You'd lose sight of your mission and you'd feel completely lost. Maybe this is even you right now. You just lost your job and with it, your sense of identity and what your work is. And if you can still make a contribution, you're feeling anxious, of course, to get back to another job, to get that income. But it's not just about that for some people. It's to get back that sense of work identity. If this is you, you're not alone. This is the challenge of the times, right? At the time of my recording this, we're in Q1 of 2025, and already there have been over 200,000 job cuts in the US alone, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Entire industries that have historically been dubbed as secure are being torn apart and throwing their participants out on their butts in the cold without so much as a pillow to cushion the hard landing. It is rough. It's a mess. And the number of people I know personally who have lost and are in fear of losing their jobs just keeps going up and up and up and up. And the thing is, even if you feel safe for now, that sense of safety must be cracking just a little bit because of all the dumpster fires burning in your neighborhood. You can't watch others be in distress and not feel something for them, for yourself. You just can't. This is what we're in right now. So what can you do? What should you do? It's simple. You need to be building your personal brand. You need to be building it now, right now in your current job, right now, even in your state of being recently unemployed. Right now, you need to build a personal brand that can live on its own beyond an organization. It needs to stand alone and do work because, as you can see, all jobs come to an end. It needs to stand alone because there are two really important things that a personal brand can do for you. One, it makes you visible. And two, it makes you referable. And this is what you need, both now and in the future. If you've been listening to Reframe to Create for any amount of time, you know my goal here is to help you reframe your thinking on work. I want you to go beyond being job focused to becoming mission minded. I want you to understand your mission as being about your real work. And I want you to know that your real work is not your job or your career, but what you create. So having a strong personal brand means being someone whose work is liberated from your employer in a way that you can always serve with your gifts wherever you find yourself without feeling beholden to one organization to do your work. And now I know you're thinking, Joy, I don't want to spin off on my own. This whole spin-off talk, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to be an entrepreneur or to build a side business or a side hustle. I'm an employee for life. And even if I'm currently unemployed, I don't want to stay out here, floating out here, with my own personal brand. I want to be back in an organization as quickly as possible and get back to jobbing. Hear me when I say this. It doesn't matter. This applies to you more than anyone else. If this is what you want for yourself, the ability to transition quickly into a new job, then you must have a personal brand, because without it, you're wasting time and doing double work. Without it, you're starting from scratch with a new audience, which is essentially what a potential new employer is. You're starting from scratch to be visible to them and referable to them. Think about it. Imagine you have a strong personal brand right now with your current job. And with that powerful personal brand, you are getting referrals for work opportunities right now, but you're not taking them because you don't need them. You're getting opportunities now because you are, one, visible to people other than your current employer, and two, you have a good reputation around your work that's making you referable to people other than your employer, and those people are talking about you and your work. Imagine that. Imagine having all of that goodwill in your personal brand bank before the rug gets pulled out from under you. Wouldn't you rather be unemployed with a powerful personal brand that's working for you than to be unemployed without a working personal brand? I'm telling you, many people are in this boat right now. The ones who will bounce back faster are those who have a personal brand working for them right now, getting them into rooms they don't know about before they need the work. My podcast guests, Diane Diaz and Katie Anderson, know all about this personally. In episode 64, Diane shared her regrets about not getting a personal brand before she lost her job, and how if she had to do it over again, she would have made sure that she built her personal brand from day one so that it was ready for her when she got fired. She said that having a personal brand would have made her transition so much easier. Things were different, though, for my other guest, Katie Anderson, who shared in episode 82 how she was so grateful that she had built a personal brand before leaving her job, and how it was a great transition net for her when she moved on. Their stories are powerful examples of what I'm talking about here today. So this does apply to you. This is not optional for any employee of any amount of tenure or expertise anywhere. You can't rest on your laurels or put all your eggs in one basket. You can't allow the value of what you create to only be known by your one current employer. As many people are finding out, this is a dangerous proposition. It's time to stop working this way. Having a personal brand is no longer optional. It's a non-negotiable, no matter the container your work is in, whether that container is a job or a business. You need a personal brand. Having a personal brand makes it easier to get a new job. It makes it easier to transition into retirement or anything else like that. That's because a personal brand gives other people the information they need to know how they can refer you to opportunities faster and that are a better fit. And further, the mindset that's keeping you from building your personal brand is a mindset that I do not subscribe to here at Reframe to Create. Everything I'm pushing you towards is to get that reframe on work, a reframe that separates your work from your job, that gives you the power to be paid to be you, a reframe that gives you the power to not only create with your gifts, but own what you create and tell powerful stories about what you create. In the next episode, I'm going to dig deeper into the idea of how your brand makes you visible and referable, and share very specific things that you can do to make yourself more visible to others outside of your organization and to make you referable to them. But today, I just wanted you to really get it in your head that this is non-negotiable. We'll get down to it so that you'll get the tools in hand to start building your personal brand with those two things in mind. For now, I hope you're on board, like fully convinced, and that you yourself are saying to yourself, personal branding is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable for me. And I am going to be about the business of making sure that I build and have a powerful personal brand that's separate from my current employer, separate from my current job, and that is my own. So while you're waiting for that next episode, check out the Diane Diaz and Katie Anderson episodes so that you can get ready. And we can talk when we get back about how to get you visible and referable today. You've already proven that you can be a great member of the band. Now you need something that will give you your spin-off power. See you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?